What if I told you that Lewis Hamilton's first qualifying session as a Ferrari driver revealed a problem so serious that it's already reshaping the team's entire strategy? Why did Hamilton openly admit on live radio that even his 7 championships can't fix what's wrong with the SF25? And what did Ferrari's post-session analysis uncover that has Italian media calling it a betrayal of Ferrari's soul? These aren't rhetorical questions. They're based on documented evidence from one of the most revealing weekends in recent Formula One history. When Hamilton said those now famous words, "I need more juice, I need more speed in some way," according to Italian motorsport journalists, it wasn't just driver frustration. It was what they described as the voice of someone who is trying to transform a gigantic institution from within and begins to notice how difficult it is to move a mountain. Let's examine what actually transpired at Monza, because the surface story and the underlying reality are completely different. Free Practice 1 told a beautiful lie. Hamilton topped the timing screens with a blistering 1 minute 20.117 seconds, with Charles Leclerc right behind him. For those precious minutes, Ferrari looked unstoppable. The tifosi erupted. Social media exploded. Headlines wrote themselves about Ferrari's resurgence and Hamilton's immediate impact. According to reports from the weekend, the international press began talking about redemption, a new golden chapter, and the dreams of millions seemed possible. But Formula One doesn't operate on fairy tales, and what happened next was described by one Italian journalist as a brutal reminder that great dreams also have great obstacles. Between FP1 and FP2, Ferrari made what they believed were intelligent setup adjustments, changes designed to improve braking balance and traction through Monza's slower sections. Those changes backfired spectacularly. Hamilton's feedback was immediate and damning. P1 was a good session. P2, we made some changes and the car was a little worse. The SF25 transformed from competitive to unpredictable, particularly through the second sector where the front end became, in Hamilton's words, completely unstable. But here's what Ferrari discovered when they analyzed the data that night, and why Hamilton's radio message represents something far more significant than driver complaints. Ferrari's Monza preparation wasn't improvised. They arrived with a meticulously planned aerodynamic package specifically engineered for the Temple of Speed. Low downforce configuration, flat-cut rear wing borrowed from successful 2024 elements, optimized bodywork for minimal drag. Everything calculated to maximize straight-line performance without completely sacrificing cornering stability. In terms of raw speed, it worked. Telemetry data showed Ferrari among the fastest down Monza's legendary straights, achieving these speeds without even deploying their most aggressive engine modes. The SF25 was flying where it mattered most, or so it seemed. The reality emerged in sectors 2 and 3, where Monza demands precision through fast sweeping corners and rock-solid braking stability. According to technical analysis from the weekend, this is where the SF25 began to show cracks. The reduced aerodynamic load that helped them down the straights became a liability through Ascari and Parabolica, where the rear axle became increasingly unpredictable under braking loads. What makes Hamilton's situation particularly revealing is his immediate recognition of these characteristics. His vast experience allowed him to diagnose the problem instantly. The SF25 operates within what engineers call an extremely narrow window. Small setup changes don't fine-tune the car, they fundamentally alter its behavior. This represents what technical reports describe as Ferrari's core weakness. They still do not completely dominate the behavior of the car under different track, temperature, and load conditions. While McLaren and Red Bull have developed what the same sources call more tolerant platforms with broader performance windows, Ferrari essentially starts from zero at each circuit. The most telling part isn't what Hamilton said on the radio. It's what Ferrari's engineers admitted privately about their reaction to his feedback. Hamilton's post-qualifying radio message reveals something deeper than technical problems. It exposes a fundamental mismatch between Ferrari's traditional approach and championship-level expectations. When he asked for more juice, he wasn't requesting impossible performance gains. He was highlighting what Italian media sources identified as lack of efficiency in power delivery, and problems with how that power is applied to the ground in a usably consistent way. The context makes this significant. Hamilton has spent years with Mercedes, a team that built their dominance on predictable, adaptable machinery. The W11 and W12 might not have been the fastest cars in every session, but they were consistent. Engineers could make setup changes confident in the results. Ferrari's SF25 represents the opposite philosophy. According to weekend reports, the car requires almost surgical tuning to perform at its maximum. Every adjustment carries risk. Every circuit presents new challenges. This isn't just inconvenient, it's strategically catastrophic when fighting teams with more stable platforms. Hamilton's feedback pattern at Monza, positive in FP1, negative after setup changes in FP2, illustrates what sources describe as a disconnection between the team of engineers and real track conditions. This disconnection doesn't just slow decision-making, it erodes the essential trust between driver and team that championship campaigns require. The 5-place grid penalty that dropped Hamilton to 10th position became symbolic. Italian coverage noted that in Monza, starting 10th is not just a strategic problem. It is almost a betrayal of Ferrari's soul, disappointing fans who expect Ferrari to represent something greater than mere grid positions. But Hamilton's response to this setback reveals his true strategy for transforming Ferrari, and why his approach might be more dangerous than anyone realizes. Here's where Hamilton's Monza weekend becomes genuinely fascinating. His radio messages and post-session comments weren't just driver feedback. They were strategic communication designed to accelerate change within Ferrari's structure. According to Italian motorsport analysis, Hamilton's approach represents a direct message to the team with clear implications. Ferrari can no longer afford to be the team that almost achieves it. You need to move from promise to real threat, from nostalgic narrative to technical capacity. This creates unprecedented internal pressure. Hamilton isn't requesting patience while Ferrari develops their car. He's demanding immediate solutions to fundamental engineering problems. His communication style, described by sources as containing no resignation, but demand, internal pressure, standards, represents a cultural shift Ferrari hasn't experienced with previous high-profile drivers. The technical implications are equally significant. Hamilton's diagnosis of the SF25's narrow operating window forces Ferrari to confront uncomfortable realities about their development philosophy. While competitors have built adaptable platforms through years of methodical evolution, Ferrari has relied on circuit-specific solutions and exceptional driver talent to mask underlying deficiencies. Hamilton's experience allows him to identify these patterns immediately. His feedback loop with Ferrari's engineers is accelerating problem identification, but also highlighting the gap between current capabilities and championship requirements. This situation poses fundamental questions about Ferrari's campaign and beyond. Can Ferrari's engineering culture adapt to Hamilton's systematic approach quickly enough to remain competitive? Will Hamilton's diagnostic precision help Ferrari build a more consistent platform? Or will it expose problems too deep to solve mid-season? The evidence suggests we're witnessing either the beginning of Ferrari's technical renaissance or the moment when even Lewis Hamilton's exceptional talent hits the limits of what individual brilliance can achieve against systematic engineering deficiencies. Hamilton's Monza debut wasn't just another qualifying session. It was a comprehensive audit of Ferrari's championship readiness, delivered by someone who understands exactly what winning requires. The results of that audit will define not just the remainder of 2024, but Ferrari's entire approach to returning to championship contention.